the camp character that he did in the Carry On pictures was incredible, because in a lot of ways it was eccentric other than camp. But he introduced this, which was a story in itself. If he wanted a laugh, then he didn't have to have a line. He would have that,
This couple want somewhere to sleep, you know. They'd like to rent your caravan.
Da. We have look.
Oh, you need look no further, madam. This way, please. Do you mind wiping your feet? Here we are, all ready to move into. Just wants a bit of a sweep out. I've got all the brooms and things are in the cupboard here, and you'll find... well, that's...
Who is living here?
I was.
How much rent you asking?
Well, I'm only a simple man, you see. I don't understand figures.
We did Carry On Emmanuel together, which he was superb in that picture. We had a lovely scene, whereas I played the butler. And I had this idea of I took the telephone in and handed it to Suzanne Emmanuel, and she took it. And as she took the phone off the hook, she pulled it, and it was around my neck. So it pulled me down, see. So I said to Gerald, can I try this? She said, oh, yes, nice idea, go and do it. So I had the telephone here, and I handed it to her. She pulled down. What I didn't know was that she was topless under the sheet, and where did I finish up? Right there. So, of course, I suddenly look when we finished the shot, and there's Kenny standing there going,
We had worked very happily with gay people and understood a lot of the thinking and a lot of the chat and a lot of the mannerisms.
Flap me sideways.
Infamy! Infamy! They've all got it in for me.
And we were very much on their side. We felt very happy in the company of gay people. And we tried to recapture the gaiety, literally, the gaiety of gay people at that time. And Julian and Sandy were an evocation of that.
Hello, I'm Julian. This is my friend Sandy. Hello. Come down, yeah.
Of course, because it's round the horn. I used to listen to it when I was a child. Many's the Sunday lunchtime I twiddle the old cat's whisker.
Cat's whisker. You sound old-fashioned, making it sound old-fashioned, and he bold.
Bold, he's gone too far. We're not that old.
No.
Mind you, we're not in the first flush.
No, he hasn't flushed for years, have you? No, he hasn't.
No, I like to keep myself to myself.
He's become quite withdrawn, haven't you? Withdrawn.
We haven't heard you on the air for some time.
No.
What have you been doing with this?
Well, to tell the truth, we have been rather quiet lately. I mean, after we retired from show business, we decided to go out to Portugal.
Portugal, the Algarve, Albufeira.
Well, the same to you.
But as we didn't know quite the details of the patter, we had to rely on either Hugh Paddock or Kenneth Williams to tell us what was being said and what it meant and all the rest of it. We used to make notes and then regurgitate it in the scripts. And it was great fun to do. But there were phrases and references that we did not know had a double meaning.
Well, I believe the word camp has actually found its way into the addenda of the OED.
I beg your pardon?
It's found its way into the addenda of the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary.
Kenneth was extremely well read. I mean, history, it was absolutely spot on. Apparently, I never saw this or anything because I didn't ever go to his home, but apparently he had a big lectern thing with this huge books, historical book on it that he'd read. I mean, I got this extraordinary sort of picture of him sort of going home, no television, but this was his life. He loved books.
Studying the dwelling places of primitive man, we are able to form a picture of how he lived. Yes, and we know from the crude drawings on the walls of his cave that he frequently exposed himself.
And I began to think, well, everything I say seems to sound like pass the salt.
So will you lay the table or shall I? Get your crew it out.
I've never met anybody who's so well read before. And I don't know, we're sitting down there one day having cup of coffee and I looked at the book he was reading, and it was the history of the pharaohs.
Ah, gentlemen, I see you're admiring my pharaoh. He was the founder of the...
Kenneth Williams was an intelligent, no, an intellectual man with a mind like a sewer.
Yes, I've often thought how fascinating it would be to make him live again. I bet he could tell us a thing or two.
Could you tell us about just a minute, because you always seem to win it.
Oh, I don't always. I don't always.
You cheat. That's what you do.
Yes, well, I'm afraid. Yes, I have to answer. I have to answer honestly and truthfully. I have cheated, yes.
Come on, let's get back to the game. It's your draw, Judge. Someone's dropped one. Oh, it's me. I've got it. Mrs. Van the Baker. Happy families. That's another pot I've won.
But that Parsons, Nicholas Parsons, he says things like, well, I'm not lying there. Your diction's appalling. Well, I say as good as yours when you got your teeth in. Well, and then he said, disgraceful. Really, Kenneth, I couldn't talk like that. And I said, of course you couldn't. You haven't got my vocabulary.
Attack was his form of defence. I think he was terribly insecure. He was a frightened man by life, so therefore he used his sarcasm to attack. He would not suffer fools at all.
Damned filth.
How dare you? Do you know what you just did?
Well, that is a fine old British jester, no?
You've tried my patience too far. I know about you people. Give me a uniform and they go power mad. Well, I'm not going to bandy words with an idiotic, jumped-up popinjay like you anymore. I demand to see the chief of police.
I am the chief of police.
And I found very early on in life, I'm a small person, and I found very early on in life that if you didn't have the sort of retort that was necessary to put down people who were rude and bullying, then you couldn't do it in any other way. I mean, you couldn't do it. I had to do it verbally. I couldn't do it physically.
Oh, I realize, of course, it was the sight of me in the shower that aroused your slumbering manhood.
Oh, but it wasn't slumbering. It was only half an hour.
No, please, don't say any more. Just be patient with me. Remember, I am inexperienced in such things. Just don't rush me. I think you'll find it's worth waiting for.
So it's Christmas, but you won't find me stuffing your turkey.
Be honest now. Do I look like a woman of 40?
You really feel as young as that?
No, that's what I am.
May I have the honor to present my daughter, the Princess Jelly?
An appropriate name for one set in so perfect a mold.
Oh, yeah. I must beg your excellency not to lavish too much of his excruciating wit on us.
I love that F.E. Smith one, you know, where he, after a lengthy preamble in front of the judge said, I've listened to your arguments. They are very lengthy, and I'm none, frankly, Mrs. Smith, I'm none the wiser. And he's no, my lord, but doubtless better informed. On the set, the lady who was notorious for this women's lib, throw away the bra. And he actually said to her, yes, yeah, you look 10 years younger. Yeah, with the breasts hanging, it's taking all the lines out of your face.
I'm always amazed that he's a Cockney, Kenny Williams. I cannot believe he comes out the Caledonian Road. I mean, that's not a true Cockney, but we consider him an East Ender because he speaks so posh.
Kenneth Williams, as everybody who ever worked with him will tell you, had the most versatile voice.
Oh, Mama, is it time to get up? Oh, he's delirious.
The middle class thing, that awful sort of, that awful frightful sort of, that one, oh, can't even know, what a frightful, it's so incredibly tight-assed. You think, oh,
We are English gentlemen. Don't talk to me about your English gentlemen. I have seen what you scribble on the walls of your English gentlemen.
Jelly,
Yes, my father.
it is not proper for one of such high caste to be making the eyes of the cow at the rear end of the horse.
Not even when his smile shines like the very sun of the heavens.
Not even when it shines like the very seat of the trousers. Now go to the women's quarters and pay your respects to your mother.
Yes, mother. Which one is she again?
Oh, how many more times?
But you see, think of all those wonderful characters that Kenny played. I mean, the Raja in that, wasn't he? And what about the sheriff?
Carry On Cowboy. Had old Gabby Hayes, and oh, it was wonderful.
We've got to do some quick thinking.
Tonight, he said. That's today.
That's pretty quick thinking. Don't overdo it. Leave it to me.
But somehow or another, the cavernous quality of his sinuses gave him a terribly big voice down here.
There was a young fellow called Reg who went with a girl in a hedge when along came his wife with a big carving knife and cut off his meat in two veins.